What is magnetic damage and status effects in Warframe? I'm going over all the different damage types and status effects in the game here on the channel, and we're finally coming to our first combo element, magnetic. Magnetic is made from combining the cold and electric base elements, and like most other elements in the game, it can be modded onto your weapons to give them that damage type and the chance to apply its status effect, and of course some Warframe abilities will also do magnetic damage and status effects as well. Magnetic will deal increased damage to Corpus, Amalgam Corpus, as well as Techrot factions, but deal reduced damage to Narmer faction enemies found in the New War, Narmer open world bounties, and Archon hunts. The magnetic status effect is actually one of the most powerful in the later stages of Warframe because it will increase the amount of damage you deal to enemies with shields, the blue health bar, but more importantly Overguard, the whitish health bar, up to a maximum of 325% more damage to those defenses when they're affected by its max 10 stacks. Not only that, but when you remove the enemy's overguards or shields while they're affected by magnetic, the enemy will take a guaranteed electric status effect that deals damage based on the target's maximum shields or overguard, up to a maximum of 30% of those defenses' values at 10 stacks, which can translate into some pretty significant damage, especially considering that all factions can have overguard due to Xmas units, and those units usually have quite a large amount of overguard, and thus that electric proc will deal significantly more damage. This is incredibly useful for the late and end game of Warframe, as Overguard tends to be the most problematic defense type in the game as it makes enemies immune to most abilities, thus reducing your overall effectiveness of your Warframe, not to mention that Xmas units tend to have very high levels of Overguard, making them much harder to slay over regular enemies. As I mentioned earlier, you can combine electric and cold to make magnetic on your weapons, and when you do that, you'll lose those base elements damage and status effects and instead do magnetic damage and its status effect. However, magnetic is also one of the combo elements that can be chosen as an adversary weapon progenitor bonus for your Kuva, Coda, and Tenant weapons, and has its own specific mods for each weapon type, meaning that it's very easy to fit into your builds, and then allows electric or cold to be combined into another element or kept alone, giving your weapons significantly greater options and potentially damage when combined with Condition Overload or its primary or secondary galvanized equivalents. This element is so useful that I always make sure that at least one of my weapons has it equipped to help deal with Overguard, so make sure to give it a try on your next build, and as always, sub for more tips and swing by my stream if you need any help.